Today, in this educational bio video, we are going to be talking about changes to the Earth using one of the best sandbox resources available to me, Minecraft. Alright, so we are going to start with human impacts on the environment. Humans, to sustain a large population and produce commodities, grow a large amount of food. But to support food production in areas flat and as barren as this, humans use fertilizers and pesticides, in this case bone meal, to grow crops in areas where the soil usually wouldn't allow it, because of a lack of nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, or anything else plants need to grow. Rapidly growing plants, like C4 plants as opposed to CAM plants, generally take up more nutrients faster than other plants like C3s. When the amount of pesticide or fertilizer runs off into the water systems via irrigation problems, it usually ends up in a lake or some kind of stream of some sorts. In this case, this lake, which is filled with salmon. Dangerous chemicals from the pesticides, fertilizers, or anything else the plants are treated with gets into the lake and in turn gets into the salmon via their food supply, such as their plants or just by sheer consumption of the materials themselves. The salmon then in turn store these toxins which they can't break down inside of them. And then whatever eats the salmon gets even more of it. Because as you go up trophic levels, the concentration gets higher and higher and higher because they need to eat more to get the same amount of biomass because of secondary consumption, trophic levels, energy, defecation, growth, etc. Humans can also pollute waters with things that that these salmon can consume. For example, they can release bone meal, they can release glass bottles that these fish will also consume, which can damage them, kill them, hurt the environment, kill plants, other things. Another thing to know about nutrient enrichment of areas is dead zones. When things like fertilizers get into the environment, they can feed algae, which in turn can cause massive algal blooms where they poop a bunch of nutrients out once they consume them, where then bacteria use oxygen in cellular respiration to consume their feces. Disgusting, I know, but they do that. Where then that depletes the oxygen in an environment and kills off everything living there, creating dead zones. And then lastly, we have climate change. Carbon emissions from things like fires, destruction of trees, industry, and other things have released way more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than any other point in human history, at least. And every time there's been a large amount of carbon in the atmosphere, there's been a mass extinction of some sort. So, with this large amount of carbon dioxide going into the atmosphere, it increases the greenhouse effect, where heat is trapped inside the atmosphere by things like methane, carbon dioxide, and other gases, which trap heat and hold it better, which increases global temperatures. Other things like chlorofluorocarbons can break down the ozone layer and can also increase UV radiation, which damages organic life. All of these things are recent events in terms of human history caused by humans, and there's no real way that is known to fix every issue without drastic changes to human lifestyle at the moment. So I recommend you to think of something you can do in your life to fix this, because as Mr. Wallen would say at the end of the PowerPoint, please discuss.